On November 30th, our dispatch center received in excess of 100 phone calls in a very short period of time. Their professionalism in responding to that, handling calls, and getting relevant information to get out to our deputies, it was a testimony to their excellence and professionalism. The high school has approximately 1,800 students, and cars were dispatched at 12:52 and arrived minutes later. Within 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes of their arrival, they had a suspect in custody. The first deputies on scene were joined by about 100 other deputies from the sheriff's office, and shortly thereafter, almost another 200 from area agencies, including numerous fire departments. I'll give you a very detailed list of who showed up so you can understand the partnership and the training that has gone into being prepared for a situation like today. The deputies removed from the suspect a 9mm Sig Sauer SP 2022 pistol. It was loaded at the time and still contained 7 rounds of ammunition. When they took it from him, he had a loaded firearm and he was coming down the hall. That, again, I believe, interrupted what potentially could have been 7 more victims. Arriving deputies and officers from other jurisdictions searched the school and evacuated injured students and staff, along with others that were uninjured but clearly panicked. Responding deputies reverted to their active shooter training that we talked about already, deploying throughout the building and searching for additional assailants, because obviously at that point we didn't know if it was one or multiple assailants, while rescuing victims with the assistance of our partner fire service agencies. Internal and external command posts were established. Secondary searches were conducted along with securing the inside and outside perimeters. The FBI and MSP bomb squad responded to assist, and they checked a package that my K-9 unit, our explosive unit, had alerted to. More than likely, the suspect had his weapons in that bag. There was nothing else in that bag that was dangerous. Our Office of Special Investigations and our forensic lab is currently processing the scene, which is expected to take many, many hours and go all night long. I'm extremely proud of the deputies, our partners, the fire departments and EMS for their intervening actions. As I mentioned, I believe they literally saved lives, having taken down the suspect with a loaded firearm still in the building. I also want to underscore the impact on our team and any team that faces something like this and how proud I am of them and anyone else in these situations. One of our deputies, because of the severity of wounds, loaded up one of the children in his car, and sadly that child died in the car. One of our employees who was in the 911 center as part of the team taking the emergency calls had a relative killed in the attack. And so this touches us all personally and deeply, and will for a long time. This wound will never go away, and we understand that. But we also want the community to know that we're here for them, and we will leave no stone unturned in determining all the things that led up to it and making sure that this investigation is full and complete before it's turned over to hold this individual accountable. As of right now, we have tragically lost 3 students, a 16-year-old male. The names, you'll have the names of the deceased. The families have been notified. He died in the patrol car on the way to the hospital. 14-year-old female and a 17-year-old female. Another 8 people were injured, 7 students and 1 teacher. Victim number 4 is a 15-year-old male. He's in critical condition with a gunshot wound to the head. Victim number 5 is a 14-year-old male with serious condition, jaw and head gunshot wounds. Number 6 is a 17-year-old female. She's stable with a neck gunshot wound. A 15-year-old male, stable with a gunshot wound to the leg, the left leg. A 17-year-old male, stable condition with a hip gunshot wound. A 47-year-old teacher who has been thankfully discharged. She had a left shoulder gunshot wound that appears to have been a grazing wound. Tragically, we have a 14-year-old female who is in critical condition with chest and neck gunshot wounds, and she's currently on a ventilator after surgery. So it's looking very tough for this young girl. Our 11th victim, excuse me, is a 17-year-old female. She's in critical condition with a chest gunshot wound as well. There were multiple non-threatening life injuries from students as they were rushing out of the building, obviously evacuating. They got hurt. Most of them were treated and released at a predetermined staging area. And our thanks to Meyer for assisting with that and being involved in reuniting students with their parents. On-scene counseling with our chaplains was made available to the staff, students, and certainly the families. And I have assigned a deputy to each of the victims' families to be with them as long as necessary so that they ensure they get the information they need, the comfort they need, and the protection they deserve. As I mentioned, we have the suspect in custody. He's a 15-year-old male sophomore, a resident of Oxford Village. He was not injured, and he's currently lodged at Children's Village on campus here on homicide and attempt homicide with the approval of the on-duty probate court referee. We cannot identify him at this point because he's a juvenile and he has not been charged as an adult, so there's no ability to identify him at this point. With his parents present, he declined to speak, and they have hired an attorney, so there is no conversation that's going on and no cooperation at that level. Preliminary investigation revealed that the weapon used in this shooting was purchased on November 26th, 4 days ago, by the boy's father. The gun had 15-round magazines. We found 2 of them. There allegedly was 3 that was purchased, and he had the crime scene unit. Our forensic lab is on scene, obviously processing a huge crime scene. More than likely that 3rd magazine will be found there. At least 12 rounds, we know. That's a preliminary number based on casings observed on the ground and part of the active scene that they're now processing.